Welcome to Art and Conversation, where creativity meets the courage to share. I'm Matty, and every episode we connect stories one dot at a time to normalize talking about mental health and celebrate many forms of human creativity. Today I'm here with Xandru. I don't know if you'd like to be called anything else to the flight today.
No, Xandru is mine.
Yes?
Xandru.
Everyone knows you by Xandru.
Yes.
Basically has a background for me, in my perspective, I know him from a sports background.
Yes.
But I also know him from an entertainment background.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very curious about his background and wanted to invite him for a conversation today. So basically,
I'm really glad you did.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
And thanks for the amazing backdrop. I need to be interviewed literally in an art
Space.
temple.
Yes, exactly. This is actually the shop. I grew up in Berzabuja, but my grandfather lived down the road, and every time I came to my grandfather's house, I'd come here. Even if I had no money, I'd be like, I like that sketchbook, I like those paints. I think I got every type of medium at home. I have inks, I have watercolors, I have acrylics, I have oils, I have pencils. And I'm the type of person who's like, oh, I really want to use it. I want to see what's going to come out of this. I don't like every medium, but I love this shop, and it's always opened me up to try different things.
And there are certain places when you walk in, different stages of your life. So if you're a kid, if you walk into a toy shop, you probably feel an amazing energy inside. Religious people, when they walk into a church or a temple, and I think if you're a creative person walking into an art shop is something like magical. You're
for
just
me,
feeling good energy.
Yes, exactly. So for me as a kid, although I loved toys, I think I loved the art shop more than a toy shop. So yeah, that's exactly it. Xandru, so today we're going to be touching base on, so it's an open conversation, of course. You can challenge me, I challenge you a little bit.
Perfect.
We're going to have about 15 minutes where we're going to paint together. And in the meantime, we're also going to be touching points about mental health or mental well-being and how it affects you or is present in your life, as well as creativity.
Okay.
So shall we start with painting?
Now the painting, does it have any sort of strategy, or one just paints what they feel?
So there is a thing to this painting. There is some strategy because I have to navigate 10 episodes. Today we're going to be painting the red hand.
Okay.
And how you paint is up to you. You can ask me, we can go. There's not really, I don't see how you can really mess up.
No.
Can add more. Healthy.
Healthy, and that's it.
No, add more.
More?
Yes. Is this one of your rare occasions that you pick up a paintbrush?
Yes, I'm really happy. I haven't done it in years.
When have you done this last?
Oh, I can't remember the last time, unfortunately. Sometimes I just sketch. I just get a pencil and I just sketch something, but that is really spontaneous and when I have time, which is really rare. But actually painting,
okay, good.
Rare.
Let's do it.
So let's go.
Okay, so you see this red, and red.
Perfect.
Okay,
Then
go for it. I'll let you do the first. So the first thing I want to really get into is what attracted you to saying yes to joining me today? Like, what excited you?
there were various things. First of all, your energy. I assumed it's going to be something that I'm going to learn, and it's going to be interesting as an experience in my own life. And then once I understood what it was, even more expression through art. I mean, mental health, well-being, expressing oneself through art. It's very valid and totally a different and interesting and innovative way of doing things. So those were the main reasons.
And today, so let's start. Since you have an idea and you've come with a lot of curiosity, do you want to ask me a question maybe, and we can go from there in regards to the conversation?
Sure. So, what made you reach out for me?
Oh, okay, that's a good question. Because I have a background, so I'm also thinking about everyone I'm inviting. I'm thinking about what is their background and what can I learn from this person. So yes, you might come here and learn a lot from me, but I want to also invite people that I can learn a lot from. And since I can relate to your background a little bit, because when I was younger, I was really into sports. I was at the track. I think I might have seen you there, here and there, because you were a coach, right?
Yes,
or are a coach.
still am.
And I was like, okay, I really want to see how that works in a mental aspect in his point of view, and how that might translate to his mental well-being, or how he might coach people into the right mindset?
It's both. I guess it helps me a lot. One of the main reasons was mental. The reason why I started being an athlete when I was a kid was my mom's psychiatrist said, this kid needs to do sport, or otherwise he's going to be, we used to call it, he's very hyperactive and he's going to have issues. So he
Okay.
needs to kind of burn his energy somewhere.
Okay.
And I started doing sport, and I realized it did help me, because I was quite a nervous kid, and I had moments of slight aggression. I used to have moments of depression. And then as soon as I started, as a young kid, I wasn't, but I was very energetic. But then as a teenager, when I kind of stopped doing sport, because at school you're doing sport when you're a kid just for fun, and then all of a sudden you grow a bit older and it slows down a bit. You're still doing sport. Then I started seeing a dark side as a teenager, and then sport really helped me mentally, and that has helped me throughout. And then as a coach now, I can sort of relate and share from what I've learned.
You mentioned dark side. What does that look like? What did that look like back then?
I guess I suffer a lot. I mean, I'm not a person that likes to show many things, so people see me smile, because at the end of the day, we all want people to smile. But dark side, when reality checks in and we start understanding or questioning, what am I really doing here? Why am I here? How am I improving this world? Am I really proud of myself? Do I really accept myself? Am I happy with society? Does all this energy of anxiety and hate out there, how is it affecting me? Do I want to just close myself away from the world? You get all these very funny thoughts where you'd like to just escape, you know what I mean?
I see.
And you need to snap out, because of course
they're not bad things, but obviously you need to regulate your feelings towards them, and then learn from those thoughts and say, what is my mind, or what is my body telling me? What do I actually need to do with this energy, I suppose? And I guess maybe doing sports was what you needed to do to release that energy, to self-regulate, and then process what maybe something a bit more in a healthy way, I suppose.
And the thing is, we suffer from many conditions like guilt and all these things.
But we're human.
And I, for example, I feel guilty for even asking myself, because
Asking yourself what?
Why am I feeling this way? In the sense, I've been to places in the world where there's so much hunger, there's so much poverty, but they're happy and they're content. And literally they have a bowl, or you just smile at them and they're happy. And then the guilt kicks in. Why am I we've managed so much in life, and we're still going to be feeling guilty, or like feeling, do I even have the right to feel bad? You know what I mean? So it's funny, because you're already feeling bad, and then you're feeling guilty about feeling bad because you feel you shouldn't have the right to feel bad. It's just a selfish.
That's what you think it is.
That's how you perceive it. So
it's interesting. And I know I've had those moments as well where I'm like, I'm so happy. I am in such a good place. Actually, not so happy. I should be happy. I'm in such a good place. I have food in my belly. I have shelter over my head. But something just doesn't feel right. And I understand that. And then obviously something has always saved me. And what has always saved me, I recognize,
art
has been art. And sports, actually. But sports, I realized more recently that it did.
I think it's also about finding the right balance of, like, the word happy is not a word that ever really, it's a buzzword. It's not something that gets to me, in the sense, what is happy? Happy are different moments of different feelings, whether it's serenity, tranquility, being at ease. So I realize that even being sad or nostalgic makes me feel good and warm inside. In fact, I found my own personal growth in moments where I'm not feeling 100%. So I guess it was more a question of learning how to deal with your inner thoughts, even if they are sad, even if they are not what people consider as happy, and it's okay. The thing is that society always tells you this is wrong, this is right.
Yeah.
So as a kid, if I had some thoughts that make me feel really sad inside, oh, this is bad. I'm meant to be always jumping around like a happy person. But who says that? I love those. They're romantic when you're sad, when you're alone, by the sea, just feeling sad. It's a nice feeling. I can't explain. I enjoy it now.
Because there's something beautiful that comes with all emotions. You're not supposed to dismiss one emotion over the other. You're supposed to actually sit with it.
I didn't know this as a kid.
No, I neither did I. It's something I'm discovering now as well. And I think that's beautiful that we can discuss this together, because I feel like a lot of people only understand this later on in life. Not when they're young. Obviously, when they're young, they're still figuring it out. Probably why.
We are works in progress. I mean, and that is the beauty of humanity, and that is the beauty of growth. The problem is when people don't grow or don't move on or don't accept themselves, and it's lots of pressure, because society tells us we need to be this way. You need to conform. You need to follow these guidelines, these rules created by I don't know who, invented by I don't know who, but they're there. And there's a very loud silence about if you go against what society believes, and in all forms and shapes. And then I think the beauty about growing is learning how to accept yourself and what you think and what you believe in, irrelevant of what people believe or believe about you. Because we're living for our own experiences, not for the experiences of others through us.
Yes.
If you know what I mean.
Yes. And then the right people will gravitate towards you because you are building.
Correct. The universe will give you those people for sure.
Right. How are you feeling so far with this?
I'm enjoying. I'm trying to.
I think you're doing a good job. I know we paint differently, but it's still a good job in my eyes.
Thank you. I'm trying to do the outside to give I didn't want it to be just red, so I'm trying to give the outside. You can see it's a shape of something.
Yes.
So it's less. And then the inside is the actual finger. I could have done this a bit more
pointed. If you
pointed.
like, we can get more. We can get some yellow as well. We can have the yellow bleeding in as well, if you like.
As you wish. Whatever art is.
Art is how you feel, and you feel like it's going in the. It looks really good to me. Love it.
Yeah, I just need to get in there with a touch. So I'm going to first do some red here, and then when it fades, I have to do the outline there. So you've been painting forever?
So I do a bit of everything, but painting has been since I was a child. I think, how did it find me? I guess my mom used to see me paint and draw. When I was 4, I believe, she was like, this girl has some talent. And she put me in an art class, but the art class was with adults. So I didn't enjoy it as much because I was in a room full of adults painting.
And you didn't relate, eh?
I didn't really relate, or I didn't connect to it, but I was good at it. And to be honest, to this day, when I look at my artworks, because I still have them to this day, I'm like, this Matty as a kid actually is really good. I'm glad my mom pushed me to do it, because I learned a lot of things through it in regards to technique. But it did stick with me, even if I had a love-hate relationship with it. It did stick around, because in some way or form, it was my way of expression. It was always my way of expression, because I was never really good with words. I never felt like I was good with words.
Exactly. That was your perception. Doesn't mean it was correct. But if you had to describe yourself, how would you describe yourself?
I think I am an observer. I am a very curious person. And I'm very curious as well, so observant, curious, quiet. And I love trying things as well. So I'll never say, even if I'm not good at
100%.
it, I will still try it and give it my go, because I feel like you never know until you try.
That's the secret to life. Because why are we over here? We're here just literally for our own personal experiences, and then we go.
Yeah.
So the more we experience, the more we can filter throughout our journey, is, I guess, why we're here. So if someone sat in a room for 8 years and died, would he or she really have lived? They were breathing, they were part of this ecosystem, but were they actually living? Because living is experiencing. It's about good times, bad times, growth.
I have something very interesting. I have to take off my jumper. Andrew's gonna film me here. Okay. You're taking the lead. I'm gonna take off my jumper.
Okay.
Superiority. I can't say.
Genetic superiority.
Do you know what that is?
Well, from English meaning, it could sound like people that are genetically, or what is perceived as genetically better. I don't know, superiority, because superiority means, so for example, if you are from Kenya or Ethiopia, you might be genetically superior to other athletes in a marathon because
Yes.
usually they tend to always be the leading athletes. From what I understand, but I'm not
Yes.
sure I'm saying the.
I found out about this term only last week, but it's very interesting. So basically, it is about a group of people who think they're superior than a certain category of people. And I was thinking about it, and I'll tell you what I think about it, and then I'll see if you can maybe add to it. So superiority, genetic superiority. I can't even say it. Crikey, Mo.
Superiority.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Think of the R.
Superiority is about. It can be a group of people, for example, who are white, who don't have any mental disabilities, and will look down on anyone that isn't like them. So you could be black. No, you don't belong here. You could be you could have Down syndrome. No, you don't belong here. And we are better than you. Now this is a very big topic to talk about, but if you think about it, and this is how I thought about it, people who think that way, that are superior, actually have a lack of curiosity, of understanding people, and the lack of curiosity indicates or shows up as being scared to open up to more. That's what I think it is, really and truly. When people feel superior, it's because, and they don't want to include anyone into their life, it's because they're scared of what they don't know. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And it's interesting because when we think about the world as a whole, there's so many people who are scared to open up and understand people. And that's why they're either alone, there's a war going on, all these things, there's racism.
That's where it all stems from. If you think this way, then you have a false sense of righteousness. You have a false sense of importance. You have a sense that you could be perceived as better, and when I say perceived as better, the words are very important. Perceived as better than others because perceived by our standards. So if I'm in a race and I beat you, I would be perceived as better than you in that race. Doesn't mean I'm superior to you. It just means I'm better at that particular thing, just like art. If you have one artist compared to another, most people who like art might consider this artist better than another person. But it doesn't make superiority, because superiority is very dangerous, because the second you feel any human being is superior to another, that is where everything crumbles. Because in nature, there's always going to be the alphas, the omegas, the betas, but they all form part of this ecosystem. So you cannot have one without the other, because if it's all equal, then it's going to be havoc and it wouldn't exist. So everything is really important. And it's funny how what is perceived as strength or weakness is actually not. So many times somebody who is who's perceived as weak. So for example, a housewife who just bows her head and has just takes stupid orders from her husband, or takes shouting at, and one would see him as the strength and her as the weak, or it's the opposite. She has put up with so much and managed to endure it without becoming aggressive. Keeping a family together. I'm not saying it's right, of course.
No.
I'm just saying the strength. She is the strong one, not he. He's weak. He's just venting and being a bully. So it's funny how society perceives superiority or non-superiority. If I had to say this, he'd feel superior, but to me, she's 10 times more superior. She's got integrity, she's got discipline, she's got a state of mind that he will never get to, because he is weak. The second you do it to him, he'll crumble. Whereas she's a pillar. So I really believe what you're saying. If anyone feels that they're genetically superior, I mean, Nazis started from there, the white supremacy. I mean, there's lots of, and unfortunately, there are human beings that still believe that there is a thing as genetic superiority. Of course, in sport, it could come as not something you're deciding. It's somehow Jamaicans and Americans seem to be faster than the rest of the world.
But that doesn't mean that we look down or.
But they're not making them any better than the person they beat in a race. They're just faster.
Yeah.
But there's no superiority. You're faster. Can you play the piano like the person you just beat? Maybe not. Does it mean he's superior to you? No. You know what I mean? Superiority has human beings have so many different levels, which is beautiful, because just because I'm better than you in something doesn't make me superior, because you could be better than me in 10 things. Actually, if I beat you in a race, but you're better than me in 10 things, it makes you superior by your theory. But the world will say, oh no, this one's the Olympic champion. He's the superior genetically. Probably he can't even read or write.
Yeah.
So what? He can't write a poem. So it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. And
I mean, it exists, but it doesn't exist.
yes, maybe in our worlds, because I did want to bring it up into this conversation, because I want to bring awareness that maybe if someone is a bit more closed-minded about certain things or certain people, my words are not coming out, but maybe they can reconsider how they look at other people, and maybe they can consider the next person they talk to, and rather than be closed-minded, they can be open-minded and be like, okay, what can I learn from this person?
But they don't have that gift because they're inferior. So in fact, they're not superior, and that's what you said. Many times it's insecurity. I'm trying to prove to you that I'm better by proving to you I'm better. But the truth is, I don't need to be. If I feel I'm better, do I need to say it?
No.
The fact that I don't say it would already make me feel. But the fact that I'm trying to put you down and I'm trying to eliminate you, so I'm feeling threatened because the superior people are actually trying to get rid of what they consider inferior. Why? They're that scared. You know what I mean? I remember a quote from Gandhi when they were doing the peaceful rally, sitting down, and the British came to beat them up. I remember one of Gandhi's people said, we need to leave. And Gandhi said, why? He said, they've come with guns and sticks and everything, and we have nothing. And Gandhi said, oh, they must be really scared.
Yeah, that's it.
You understand what I mean?
Yes.
So it's interesting, but you brought it up. But unfortunately, what you mentioned is a very sad thing.
It's a very sad thing. I don't think
made lots of harm.
I don't think having this conversation will eliminate this perception that some people hold. But I want to bring light to it and to show that maybe even if you do think like this, it's okay. But maybe you can change if you want. You can start. You can give yourself permission to think differently if you like. That's what I'm hoping this conversation brings. But you never know.
But many times it's also fear not to abide. Like, for example, if you look at different parts of the world, in Iran right now, like women can't show their hair, for example, or they'll get beaten. But that's because a certain fraction of people feel they are superior to women, so they shouldn't show their hair because that's what they feel.
Isn't that they do that because of religion?
But it's many things. It's religion, of course, it stems from religion, but then it becomes a culture, and then it becomes what is public opinion to most. But public opinion is not really public opinion. You're addicted to it, or it's fear to break away. So if everyone in here is saying something, many times, if the tribe is saying, this person is crazy, this person is crazy, and I'm part of that tribe of 50, and that one person, without wanting, you're gonna, this person is, you know what I mean? It's a tribal effect. And this person might be very sane, just have a different opinion, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm done, I think.
I like it. Let's take a step back. Let's look at it.
Let's see.
I like it's coming alive.
Yes, I like it. There's movement.
How do you feel so far in the conversation? Happy?
Good. No, very happy. Very happy. Very happy. And this is the truth about everything in life. Even dominant and submissive people. Submissive people are usually stronger because they can endure much more than a dominant person who's just bullying, basically, or getting their way easy.
I will question everything because sometimes I don't understand certain labels. So what is, by your definition, what is submissive and what is dominant?
So basically, a dominant person and a submissive person is someone who endures a lot. So for example, if I am, let's speak out of something easy. If I'm in Egypt, the glasses. If I'm in Egypt and in the days of the pharaohs and I'm making you build a pyramid, and I'm the dominant, I feel superior. So I have the whip and I'm whipping you, and you're carrying bricks all day, getting whipped and not crumbling. Who is stronger? The society would say, oh, his submissive is just being whipped, is just a slave. But the truth is, that slave is very strong.
I think
strength is there. It's so much easier to shout and whip.
He has maybe physically, no, I think even physically and mentally he's stronger.
Exactly. on both. So I always see things a bit differently to what the norm, because I always question, and I sort of don't always agree with certain subjects, because I say, no, I think my opinion is, I've been told this, but it's not. It's I see it differently.
I like it. It's a very strong opinion.
There you go.
I want to link a little bit back towards you because we kind of delved off, and I want to bring it a little bit closer towards you. When you, as a coach, let's take an example. We can still talk about what we're talking about, but link it more into your coaching. Have you ever met, can you pinpoint maybe one of your athletes in a certain mindset, and how did you like bring them into a better mindset to achieve their goals?
It's the most important. So if anyone thinks that any sport is about physical, it's not.
mental.
Sport is very mental. Of course, you need to have a background. You have to be talented and dedicated and need to train and eat well and everything. So that's an obvious. And I say it's an obvious because all athletes will be talented and train well and eat well. So whoever's taking it seriously and whoever picks up the sport is picking it up because they are talented, they can see they can progress, and they're winning races or whatever. So you can have 10 people doing 2 minutes one is in France, one is in Italy, and they're living more or less the same life. They're training every day, they're eating well, they're training hard, and they're doing 2 minutes and an 800. What makes the difference is the mind, because once they go to race, they're probably all capable of doing 158, but the person that is mentally in the right place and is ready to suffer enough, to push enough, to challenge themselves enough, is going to be doing that time before another person who won't. And it's all about the mind. And the problem with training is that many times you have to endure weather conditions. It's raining, it's hot, it's sunny. And from day one, I need to motivate my athletes on a regular basis. They all have insecurities. I can't manage, I won't manage. They all have the false perception that you're training to achieve, and that this is not true. You're training because you love the sport and because you want to be a better athlete. So I know athletes that wanted to stop because they didn't get chosen for that race. Like Small Nations Games, I'm going to stop, I didn't get chosen. Tipo, is that why you started doing the sport? For that race in 3 years' time you didn't even know about? No. So you're going to stop for a really silly reason, because at the end of the day, is it the ego and the glory that is motivating you, or is it personal growth? I'll give you an example. And I like to ask these athletes, if doing an Olympic record and you did it alone in the desert, is it worth less than having done it at the Olympics? And athletes will look at you and say, but there's people clapping. I'm on TV. I get the medal. True, but it's still an Olympic record. So the truth is, as an athlete, knowing that you are the fastest person in this world should be it. That is what it is. Anything else is irrelevant. Everything else is invented glorification. And it's really hard to get that, because we are used to the medal, we are used to the clapping, we are used to the glory. It's almost like if you don't get that, you didn't even do it.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. But to me, when doing an Olympic record in the desert and no one to watch you, the feeling should be just as great. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm the fastest person on this planet. Because it's about your own personal growth. Other people's appreciation doesn't validate it more, doesn't make it any better or worse. And this is something that I need to get across to athletes, because once they understand this, then they start running free. And then they'll improve, because they don't have the mental chains any longer to keep them, because mental chains are what breaks us. Whether it's work, whether it is creativity, whether it is photography and camera, you have dreams, you have things, but no, I will not do this because maybe it's offending a few, or it's a bit too much, or be you. Take off those mental chains, and then you'll create a work of art. Because and with sport the same, because the mental chains, unfortunately, are either put there or by society. We do everything to ourselves. Society does nothing. It is our own thoughts and everything. But what I mean is, either we are led to believe it, or we are under the false expectation this is the motivation behind it. I am doing it for the money, or I'm doing it for the applause, or for the medal, or for fame.
What did you do it for?
I loved running. In fact, I stopped when I stopped loving running.
Before I ask you why you stopped
Loving running?
Yes. I'll give you my perspective on running. I started running and I only realized after why I loved running. There's something that happens where you become a bit euphoric when you're running. Like you feel like you're flying. That's how I used to feel when I used to run. But I started running and I started doing so many sports because I wanted my mom to see me.
Yeah, there you go.
I wanted to connect to my mom because my mom was a national athlete when she was a kid as well. So that was the motivation.
Gratification.
But she never really checked up and connected to me, even though I was going out there. But I never realized I was doing it for that. I only realized after. But I still loved it. I fell in love with it. Thankfully, that motivated me, that yearning for connection. But then I found my love for it through this sensation, this feeling. I remember also going there, and I think the only thing that made me stop running was the community. So I used to go there, and I'm a very quiet person. I'm very observant. As a kid, I was not very sociable. I'd like focus. I have a goal. I have to run, and I have to do the technique really good because I want to feel good. I want to feel like I'm achieving things. That's how I used to be. But I used to always feel left out from the whole group. I was like, man, why can't I connect with them? Why can't I feel like I'm a part of the community? And in fact, I felt almost pushed out. And that's why I stopped, because of the community part. Not because I wasn't good at what I did or that I didn't feel good.
The debate was your perception?
Definitely. I think, yes. I mean, what held me back was not understanding how I didn't know how to connect. Like, started running because I wanted to connect with my mom, because I didn't know any other way.
These are thoughts that you're creating in your own mind. So
Yes.
the way it's a mirror of what you're feeling.
But that's a feeling, or that's a realization that came after I stopped, years later. Doing it, it was like, I was actually going there and I was like, it doesn't matter if I don't have friends. It doesn't matter if they don't feel comfortable talking to me. I'm here and I'm feeling good with running and everything. But eventually I was like, I did feel, it's a feeling, right? Running part was amazing. The sport was amazing. I didn't need to come first to feel really good.
Yes.
But then it was like, who's going to celebrate with me?
Yourself.
I can, but I was young as well.
Because running is freedom. And that's the
is.
beauty. You're in a matrix of your own with your mind. And it's fine if you can celebrate. I mean, I had some great celebrations with when we got medals in the Small Nations Games, when we did national records. Of course, you celebrate with your best friends, but the truth is that, again, it's a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of a beautiful energy that comes through sport, the family of sport. But again, it's all about the way you feel, the way you're learning from each and every step, the way you can relate to yourself. And I believe even this thing of not communicating and feeling this way, where you communicating, probably not. So probably people were thinking the same, like you were feeling, because thoughts are created. I'm going to give you a silly example, but I used to be in a meeting where there used to be a group of people and we used to decide, and there was this person, and I always felt they didn't like me because they were looking at me in a certain way. But it's funny, every time I said something, this person backed me up, and I was like always surprised. And then this person said, I really like the way you, and it was just the person's look, and I perceived it, and I was sure. If you ask me, oh, this person doesn't like me, I was sure about it 100%, and I was 100% wrong. Because this person just had a look where maybe that's their person's look. But when it came to actually voting or backing, I always found this person backing.
Yeah.
So it was in my head.
Yeah, probably at that age, because I think I was 15, 16. It was the case where I didn't know how to communicate. Now I know how to communicate much better than I did back then. And back then, probably it was all.
And how did this come, right? From someone who cannot communicate to actually interviewing it? It's quite a jump.
Because I think I'm here today because I'm always challenging myself in different parts of my life. And I think doing this project as well is, for me, it's an extension of who I want to be and need to be. That's why I'm doing it, because I feel like I'm opening up my horizons and learning how to communicate with people I don't know, people I might admire you as well.
Yeah, thank you. I admire you.
I want to be the person who can communicate. That's something like I really want. So this is part of that journey.
Because you've got different energies inside you, because you're both calm, but you're energetic. You look like you're quiet, but at the same time you can be like fireworks. So it's funny because I think you're quite kaleidoscopic. You have different yin and yangs inside you. Many people are one dimensional. You'd know they're always this way or that way. I think you'd surprise yourself and those around you, right?
That's true, but I realize I'm a certain way when I feel comfortable and safe. Like I feel confident after a couple of minutes. We've been how long have we been?
Half an hour.
Half an hour. I'll be like, okay, now I can open up a bit more. I'm like that though, and I feel like a lot of so when I meet people who are super quiet,
Yes.
but always show up, but they're super quiet. They don't connect in any way, but they're always showing up. I can see them. I see them, and I'm like, this person loves being here, and we should never not include them just because they don't include themselves in the conversation.
Of course.
Because maybe they just need someone to say, come, no matter how you present yourself.
Listen, rapport is something very interesting because you can build rapport with people who are very different or very quiet, because at the end of the day, it's about trusting, it's about responsibility. So if I trusted someone and I felt they're responsible, even if they're quiet, I would want this person beside me, because there's some, we all need people we can feel, could be a platform, could be someone you could turn around and hug or cry on, and vice versa. And I think that is very important, irrelevant of if they're the sort of stars of the show or whatever, because then these people, maybe they're not trustworthy, they're not reliable, and so what's the point? They're entertaining, but full stop, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's building rapport with humans is interesting, because I think we all relate to different needs. So your childhood memories and what you were brought up with are what you need to be reassured in. So your insecurities or all the things that you've created in your head are actually all coming from your past. If we had to look back, most of the problems we have nowadays, lots of the traumas, they're all stemming from things that we haven't really fixed or spoken about or amended. So for example, if there's people listening last time, before you gave a message, and I'd like to give this message, if there are people who are maybe not speaking to their parents or not speaking to their family members or not speaking to a person they loved dearly, do it. I don't understand why people keep that weight. I mean, I can, of course, it's pride, it's fear of being rejected, there are many valid reasons, but my point is 99%, if you do it, it's going to be okay, because the other person wants it too. They're probably just as scared as you are. And reaching out is actually not being weak, it's actually being strong, because it's not easy.
Agreed.
And the sense of rejection is big. But even if you're rejected,
that's okay.
It's okay, because you've tried. You being rejected is not wrong, as long as you know that you really wanted to do it. It hurts, of course, but then you learn how to deal with that. That's part of the growth, because pain and all these things are what helps us grow as human beings. It's what grows empathy, what grows generosity, what grows kindness. Because when you feel pain, you can experience it, then you don't wish it on others, and then that is, so we've all made mistakes, and we've all done maybe things that we're really ashamed of, or things that and I'm the first one that admits I've done things where I wish I've never done them, or in the past but I've grown from them.
And you're human.
And you learn. Yeah.
You're allowed to make mistakes. I mean, I think where some people go wrong is holding on too much onto their pride. And that's why they end up getting stuck and not being able to grow from their mistakes.
Consumes you inside. It's toxic. And we need it. We need to. I had a really nice moment where I had fallen out with a best friend of mine. And over some stupid thing as growing adolescence. And we didn't speak for about 20 years. And when I was 50, I actually reached out and invited my friend to my birthday party. Like, I had a little do with a few friends from the past and present. And he accepted. And it was just amazing. Imagine, after 20 years of silence, he's there at my 50th and we're like hugging each other. Like,
oh, that's nice.
And it just feels...
It's never too late to go
Because you never know
Reach
when
out.
your last day is here.
Yeah.
And if you have any if you have any regrets, you're gonna die with those regrets.
Yeah.
Or dreams, or
Agreed. I like that. I do believe in that as well. I think we have to communicate when we're feeling something. As simple as, even if it's not your best friend, you just see someone in the street and you really like maybe something they're wearing. Like, oh, I love your shoes. And that might, like, why keep that to yourself? Why not? Why don't
share it.
Like, why not share it and make that person feel good? The same as when you're feeling a certain way negatively. Especially if, okay, maybe you wouldn't tell a stranger, fuck off. But trying not to say too much, but it's fine. But why not tell the person you love how you're feeling negatively so that they can understand how you're feeling? I mean, this is something I've learned, something I was struggled with as a kid. And I think that's really important that we always try to communicate how we're feeling so that at least you give the other person an opportunity to understand who you are. So, yeah.
Communication is of essence in everything. And I've realized that many times when I communicate something, people are surprised when I thought they knew.
You thought they were on the same wavelength.
No, I would think that they're conscious about certain things that are annoying me, but they wouldn't be. So I'll give you an example. There was a very stubborn person, for example, and I would say something, and this person is always really stubborn, and I would.
Did I hear you? It's really annoying.
And I would think, that's good, thank you. And I would think they know they're stubborn. And when I actually confronted them and said, you know that you're really stubborn, they were shocked. Who, me? I was like, very. And I gave them 5, 6, 7 examples. And they were literally, it's like I slapped them. They were like, I didn't see it that way.
Oh, bless.
Oh, and they literally changed overnight. But had I not said it, because I thought they would know, and probably other people the same, they would have been stubborn for I don't know how long. Because they kept on just, and I said, you're really stubborn, you never compromise. Who, me? You. This thing, did you compromise? Wow, you're right. I never saw that. That was like possibly my indonage, but no. Many times, if you don't tell them, people wouldn't know.
And you cared about this person.
Even fixing me, you see, that is nice. So, for example, that's something I wouldn't do in the past, but now I do. If I see a person who I don't know in a subway, for example, and they're wearing a suit and their collar is up, I would go and tell them, listen, your collar. In the past, I just let them be, like, who am I to invade their space? But I wish them well. I don't want, maybe he has a really important meeting and that will be detrimental to his meeting. I see the best suit, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You never know.
Yeah.
So
someone has a booger in their nose and you're like,
yeah,
hey, it's a booger. I love it. I love this conversation and I hope it brings awareness to, maybe it's just reminding people as well, because I don't think it's something new we're talking about, but it's just it's a reminder. Hey, listen, reach out to your friends, tell your friends how you feel.
And mental health and mental well-being is the subject also, right? So I think we can even divulge a bit more there.
Yeah. I mean, this, for me, all this is part of mental health. The way we communicate, the way we hold back things. If you hold back things, you're actually rotting inside because you're holding that in. And that's why most people tend to feel sad or bad, because they can't communicate what they're feeling. And then they feel like there's no one there. In reality, everyone cares. Well, most of the people in your life care about you and they want to know how you're feeling. That's why this conversation was very valid. I really like this conversation in general, because I just feel like we need to remind people to communicate
and to reach out
connect.
Akon has a song and it's called Ghetto, and it's about, like, basically it feels like his walking on quicksand. You keep going down, and there's no one. So basically, it's that way. When you have a certain thought process, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're walking on quicksand and you're going down. Unfortunately, many people don't reach out. They're either afraid of being labeled, they're afraid of stigma, or they don't notice the signs.
When you say they, have you been in that position?
I'm definitely in that position in the sense I don't know how to reach out. So I'm saying something.
This day?
Till this day, I find it very hard to reach out.
Why?
I don't know. Through sport, you learn how to sort of take it all and sort of deal with it. It's like having a stitch or being out of breath or being tired, you're like, move on. It was my survival thing, but I wish I reached out more, and I'm actually working on it because it's something I realize I myself, I'm guilty of. And there are signs. When you are getting thoughts that are affecting you negatively often, or when you are not finding anything to motivate you anymore. So before a run or painting used to be helpful, and now you're not feeling it as helpful as before. These are all signs that you might need to reach out to someone who can help you, to someone who understands, because it's all a thought process. I've said this before and I'll repeat it because you never know who saw it. But the thing is, thoughts, they become beliefs, and then beliefs become feelings. I've said this even in other interviews, but it's a message I like to tell, because the feelings you're feeling are not necessarily real. They are real because of the beliefs that came from your thoughts. So sometimes it's about switching that thought process. And it's very easy to fall into that trap of going down. Because if I wake up one morning and I feel the world has something against me, I don't belong, and then there are other things that can initiate this. It's breaking up from a relationship, losing a job, losing a race. You all of a sudden feel useless. You feel very vulnerable, and you start telling yourself, I'm not worth anything. And once you start to believe this, like I'm nothing, you're going to start feeling that way.
Yeah.
And it's very important to change that thought and say, wait a second, what are you telling yourself?
Yeah.
You little sad person. Hey, stand up. I do this process to myself on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So
it's a mental, so you're not only exercising your muscles, you also have to do your mental exercise.
Mental, it's very
And
important.
if you don't practice that on a daily, if you don't do those rituals within your mind, then you kind of fall into the bad patterns.
Yes. And I was lucky, in inverted commas. My mom suffered from many mental issues. It's public, that's why I'm saying it. I mean, she's spoken about it publicly herself. She's an artist, she's a poet, she's a writer, but always her mind. And she was like I would say a very modern woman. I wouldn't use the word feminist, but a very modern woman in a day where it was mostly man-ruled, So she felt like she could contribute more, but she has to be a housewife, and it disturbed her whole psyche, and it made her... So as a kid, I would look at this mom and would be crying and freaking out because she has to cook eggs for her 3 children. And I would be saying, but why is she so intense and seeing such, So I would always tell myself, I don't want to be like her, because she's always sad and she's always crying and everything. But I realized as you get older, life does throw things at you, and you might start to think that way. But indirectly, I was very helpful because I had those thoughts as a kid. So I would say, no, I'm not going to go in that direction because it's easy. Because I'm already going in that direction, and I'm like, wait. I don't want to be like that, I said as a kid. So now I need to step back.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, going through that made me help myself.
You were exposed as a child to certain circumstances, and it helped you pave the way of how you need to think.
How I react, how I train my mind, how I change the change this thought process, I'm telling you. So I'm really good at shifting. I might wake up in the morning and my first thought is of Shidwaya. 2 seconds later, I'm like, of Shidwaya. I'm going to have a shower or go for a jog, have a shower, and I'm going to have a great day. Or of Shidwaya. And then I don't manage to snap out of it. I'm like, you know what? I love coffee. I'm going to have coffee.
Yes.
And it's going to be a brilliant morning. So it's funny because then all of a sudden I feel better. And then, you know what I mean?
It's interesting. I can see how strong you are mentally as well. I mean, yes, you've admitted that. And like anyone, me included, we have our days, we have our moments where we just somehow have the little annoying bully.
Voice.
It's a bully, I guess, putting you down. And then you just have to like punch them in the nose and be like, no.
Yeah.
Not right now, no.
100%. If you visualize that, it's very important.
Yeah.
In fact, they used to call crazy people because they say, I'm hearing a voice in my head.
It's you.
And but the truth is that we all have this voice. We're just not conscious of it, or it's not that loud.
Yeah.
when people are very aware of it and that voice becomes much stronger, unfortunately, that is where there are certain things you need to deal with. But we're all having internal conversations and it's fine. And even with yourself. And many times it's people say reasoning it out, but reasoning it out is actually talking to yourself and sitting down and not just doing something because your mind was telling you to. In fact, many times there's the expression, I don't know what I was thinking. You weren't. That's the problem. Many times, so many accidents happen or so many stupid things happen because you literally didn't think about it. You just did it, and then after you're like, what was I thinking? No, you weren't thinking. You didn't stop to say, would this person like it? Would it cause harm? Would it be dangerous? I see some things, they're crazy. If you're nowadays with what social media, and you're seeing something, you're like, oh my God, this is definitely going to end up badly. It's obvious. But the person is not thinking, they're thinking it's funny to be standing on a moving train until all of a sudden they're flying off it. Yeah. And then they're like, I don't know what I was thinking. You weren't thinking, you were just thinking, oh, I'm going to stand on the train, and it stopped your thought process. And from neuro-linguistic programming, from NLP, it was very interesting how many times people don't run the whole film. So many things can be avoided by running the whole film, but we don't. So for example, let's say you do something wrong to me. So the film in my head is, you wronged me, I'm right. So now I'm going to come find you and punch you. And that is where the film stops. Because that is all I'm saying. I'm going to find you and punch you. And I keep on playing the film till there. I'm pressing pause right there. And then I come, find you, and punch you. And then as I punched you, you probably fall down, hit your head, and end up going to hospital because you're in a really bad condition. And now someone plays play. Now they're going to come look for you, arrest you. You're going to go to court. You didn't play that part in your head. You just thought about till the punch.
Yeah.
But you didn't see the whole reel and sort of say you could end up badly. And what if this person, you hit something really bad and now you're going to spend the next 5-6 years in prison over that? Did you play that film? No. Because in your head you paused it. So this is just a silly example to understand how many times we don't play the whole film, and it happens a lot. I see people saying things and I'm like, wait a second. Even athletes, when I'm coaching them, whatever, I'm like, okay, play the whole film. What do you mean? You paused it. Like, if I don't get chosen, I'm going to stop. Okay, you press pause. And then after you stop, are you playing? And I pressing? What are you going to do to your life? Did you see how you're going to spend time? Did you choose another sport? Did you think about the relationship with your other athlete friends? They don't. They're like, no, I didn't.
A lot of people tend to, and sometimes I recognize it in myself as well, don't look at the bigger picture. So for example, if I chose to do half an hour of scrolling on my phone, that's the short, it's not the bigger picture. What happens after that? What is the consequence? We don't think about the consequences. That's what you're talking about.
Yes.
So it's interesting, and especially in this day and age where we have technology and it really does distract us from the bigger picture, like in everything, in our relationships, our romantic, our friendships, our family. We look at short term and we don't actually say, what is the consequence of not reaching out? What is the consequence of being an asshole? What's the consequence of being super nice? You know, these things people don't think about, and I think it's really important that we connect to ourselves and understand ourselves, because a lot of us, including me, sometimes I feel disconnected from myself because I don't give myself that time and energy to actually understand who I am and what my goals are.
And when do you connect? How do you reconnect? What ways?
I think so for example, this project is a bigger picture for me. So I sat down with myself and I was doing the inner work and I was like, what do I really want to do? Like, I do a lot of photography. I'm a photographer, a videographer, but what does that mean in the bigger picture, right? What does that mean in the long run? I don't know what that means. Let me try find purpose and let me try do things a bit more intentionally. I think if we sit down with ourselves and actually give ourselves a bit more intention to the future, then everything else might fall into place and maybe we'll be happier and healthier people, safe people for other people to find us. Rather than be destructive, because obviously it's easy to be destructive when you're not intentional with what you're doing in life.
Yep, it's very easy, unfortunately. As a receiver, do you have a preferred medium of work?
A receiver. That's a good question, but a difficult question.
I know.
I like receiving. I like movies. I love
Movies.
music.
You see what I mean? I mean,
Music.
because at the end of the day, I think when you're the artist, I agree, there are different forms of expression. But when you're receiving one medium, now, for example, paintings, I love. So I'll go to a museum, I'll go to art galleries, I'll go to exhibitions, and I could just stare at certain. And if I look and stare long enough, I'm going to start feeling and understanding. But it's a longer process. For example, for me, music or photography is immediate.
Immediate.
I can see a photo and it's gonna move. That photo has a million words in a second. It's like, whoa. There are certain photos that just say so much and they're so strong. It's like in me, bang, like an explosion. And music the same. As soon as it starts, I'm like, oh wow, and it just takes me somewhere.
It makes you feel something.
So, for example, although I think I agree with you, as someone creative, I cannot say which is my favorite because I think they're all so beautiful to create. As a receiver, someone who's, I think music and photography would be a bit higher than paintings. Paintings will get there.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be walking and maybe see a painting and boom, I'd stop. Wow, that's really beautiful. Oh wow, you know what I'm it's gonna be like a small, it's a tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock,
Yes.
boom. Whereas photography and music is like boom.
To receive.
As a receiver.
Something interesting about art. So, for example, this art here, there's a strategy behind it. But most artists who create art don't actually always have an idea of what they're doing. They just create. They won't understand, but they feel it and they create music, painting. They're creating, they don't know where it's going, they create it, right? Something inside them is reaching out to them and saying, there's a message here. Maybe you won't get it now.
For sure.
Maybe you won't get it after it's done. Maybe it will take you 5 years to understand. Maybe in 10 years you look at it and be like, I understand why I did that 10 years ago.
In fact, art like this is the one that expresses, maybe with music, let's say, but it expresses itself most.
Yes.
Like, because photography then is a moment. You've
photography is
captured
a
a moment. Whereas an artist is creating from feelings, experiences, traumas. So then, yes, when we're talking about expression, and that is why I said it takes longer, because you are looking at some and trying to interpret what the artist had in mind or was feeling, because sometimes they don't even have something in mind, and how it's mixing with your own interpretations. So once there's that balance and they go in sync, and then you're like, wow, so maybe there are people that prefer dark, sad paintings. There are others that just prefer something that is really boom, like a red spot on a white canvas, and it's saying everything to them. Whereas someone else would like expression, would like a feeling of life or death, or you know what I mean?
Yes. So it's interesting because obviously we gravitate towards certain pieces of art, depending on what season we're in, because we might be going through a really good stage, we might be going through grief, we might be going through A, B, and C. So it's interesting how that all works and what we actually gravitate towards, even in those different seasons. I have to start closing off.
No,
Yes,
we've just started.
I know, it's funny. I love this. I loved getting to understand you a bit more on a deeper level as well.
So you have one last question, you said, or something?
The last question is the close-off question, and it's I feel like I could keep on talking, but anyway, just have to end it here. The last question is, what would you tell yourself, your younger self? So if you had the hardest days, you're thinking of your younger self and it's in your hardest days. Does that make sense? What advice would you give them? And let's keep in mind that probably there is someone out there that probably is or was in that position, and you're giving them that advice that they need to like move forward, keep on going.
If I met my younger self, I would tell myself like these few sentences, and I'm going to be rapid because I know you need to close up. First of all, to think before you act or say something. So count and put yourself always in the other person's position, how your answer or action is going to affect them, because their feelings count and their opinions count. When you're younger, you don't really rationalize this much. You just do something and it has consequences on other human beings. I would also tell myself, dream, but dreams don't happen immediately. So be patient and be consistent and keep working hard at it, because the universe will only let you reach your dreams if the universe realizes that you really want your dreams to come true. So wanting a dream is not important. I mean, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to want a glass of milk, and the milk is going to remain in the fridge. To get that milk, you need to get up, go around the table, open the door of the fridge, grab the milk. If there's no milk in the fridge, you need to grab a car, go to the supermarket. So what happens is the milk will eventually come, but just wanting it doesn't make it come. You really need to go for it. And sometimes you go to the supermarket and there's no milk. So then what happens? You need to wait. You need to work harder. You need to go to another supermarket. So what I'm saying is, keep dreaming. When you're younger, you think just because you dream something, it should happen. No one has the right to dream. You make dreams happen by making them happen.
Beautiful. I'll give you a hug. Thank you so much.
It's good.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Probably I'll give your younger self a bit of advice as well. It's okay if you make mistakes, even if you fucked up and made someone upset. As long as you recognize that and then you give yourself forgiveness and grace and apologize to the person for making a mistake. Because you're only human, you're not always going to get it right.
Yeah.
You're not always going to get it right.
But I could have avoided certain situations, and